So hi, my name is Adriel, I'm running for ABACUS President, and in my speech I'm not going to be obsequious or overly flattering on, look at this, ABACUS is the best science here, or look at this, ABACUS changed my life since I came to UCL. Because that's as much bullshit as me slapping on my US applications, the soft story. So what I'm going to do in my speech are three things. First, my experience with ABACUS. Second of all, why I'm the ideal candidate. And third, what I would do as ABACUS President. So first of all, my experience with ABACUS. I mean, frankly, I've been to most ABACUS events, and I've met really good friends there. In fact, I met someone I'm actually living with here in one of the ABACUS events. And why do I go to so many ABACUS events? Is because I find this platform really inclusive. I really like this, as you can actually really go out and socialise, not just within UCL, but also other London universities. Hence, I go to so many ABACUS events. So why I'm the ideal candidate? To be the ideal candidate, you need 2 points. One, you need to work well with others. Since, first of all, you need to liaise with different presidents of different universities. And second of all, you need to liaise with the committee as well, and work well as a team. Because it's not a fucking dictator. Well, like every Asian kid, I played instruments growing up. I was forced into orchestra by my parents. And I've been in orchestra for like, 13, 14 years of my life. So I work really well with people. As in an orchestra, there's like, roughly 70 people in an orchestra, and every essential part in an orchestra is helpful towards making good music. And also, growing up here, I've been in sports teams, football, rowing, tennis, you name it. So I do work well with other people. Second of all is, some of the factors is that I have to be approachable. Since I'm president of a society, basically I'm the main image of society. And I think I'm an approachable person. I do like to socialise with other people, and hopefully I do believe other people like to socialise with me as well. So yeah, and my third point is what would I do if I were president? Well, I would, first of all, as mentioned in my manifesto, reduce ticket prices. Yes, I know every president said that. But how would I actually achieve this? First, I would try to find sponsors. Whereas, for example, Chinese Society actually found some sponsors for their events, so hopefully I can do the same. And second of all, I would try and sell merch. I know KCL does that, and merch could possibly cover some of the expenses. Not lots, but at least it's better than nothing. And my second point is to create more social events. Yes, as I mentioned in my manifesto, once again, it's not all about clubbing. We can always have fun without drinking. And for socialising, I know KCL, for example, does some some hot pot events, some go-karting, laser tag, and I would try and gain some inspiration, or maybe even copy their events. So yeah, these are my main reasons for running as president. Thank you.
At the start of the year, your committee may not have sufficient funds to fund the first couple of events because you haven't done any events that generate profit yet. Do you A, borrow from another uni, B, pay out of your own pocket, C, ask your committee to chip in from their own pockets, or D, other? Please explain why you've chosen your answer.
Probably go to the student union, frankly, because that is probably the main way to go. And I haven't actually held any positions yet, so I'm not sure how it runs. But if I'm on committee, I know there's a training course that you go through where you learn how do you ask your union for money, and you fill out different forms. But for this, I haven't done any events that generate profit yet. Borrowing from another uni, yes, that is viable. That is one viable option. However, how can you ensure that you can actually pay back the debts? So that I think that's slightly out of the question. But so pay out of your own pocket, or ask the committee to chip in from their own pockets. Or, well, frankly, all three options are pretty abysmal, right? But I can't think of another better one. So I'll probably say ask the committee to chip in from their own pockets. I don't understand. The repercussions of that, because what if we lose profit? That's money gone. So my first point of contact was to go to student union and ask what I should do.
So yes, it's true, student union can fund our events, and they can reimburse us for the money that we do use from our own pockets to pay for events. The trouble is that we do a lot of big inter-union events, and student union typically does not fund those because student union will only fund UCL ABACUS internal events. Secondly, it's a pain in the ass process. There's like a bunch of limits that student unions gives us, so we can't really borrow too much money, at least not enough to fund all of our events. And yeah, the application process to get these funds is huge pain in the ass. So this is the situation that we were in at the beginning of the year. And this is a situation that UCL ABACUS does tend to find themselves. I remember that the committee before us was also in this position, and so their president paid out of his own pocket until ABACUS would be reimbursed. Obviously, it's not a requirement for the president to pay out of their own pocket for these events. But could you explain a little bit more why you think some of these options are abysmal?
Okay, probably the wrong choice of words. Yes, I do hate student union. It's still only quite a lot of money. But probably borrowing from another uni, that's probably the best option to do. Because I know, like for example, Imperial and KCO, they're quite big universities, and they probably will reimburse us for these events. So that's probably the option I'll go for. And I mean, paying out of their own pocket, I don't think that's exactly a bad idea, but that would probably be my last resort. Because, like, frankly, I'm just a president of a society. I don't run a company. I'm not going to like sacrifice my own money where I can't actually. I'm not sure that is 100% return of investment. So yeah. And also, can they chip in from their own pockets? I mean, I will ask them, but if they decide not to, I won't press them because, frankly, it's not a job. It's just a road that you're running for UCL.
Okay, so regarding to this, you said like last resort is paying out of your own pocket, and you said it's like kind of an investment, right?
Yeah.
So all the profit that you get from this event, would it go back to ABACUS or is it to your own pockets? Because you said that it's an investment.
Okay, investment is probably the wrong choice of words actually. But borrow from, I mean, it's like, it's no. Let me clarify, right? It's to going back to myself, and then I'll put it back to the ABACUS fund.
Yeah, okay. And you said like you wanted to get the money from SU, right? But you know, for SU, anything that's above 350, you need to ask the SUK for it 3 weeks in advance. And also, if you're collaborating with like other uni, and especially like drinking clubbing events, you need to fill in a lot of forms, and it's like very likely that they're not gonna approve. So like, yeah, just to let you know.
Yeah. So what we did was a little bit of a mixture of quite a few things actually. Yeah. Thank you. Next question.
No.
Oh, did you have a question?
No, I have a
question.
Yeah.
So, what ideas do you have in terms of sponsors that you mentioned, like TriSoc?
Okay, for example, I'm not sure ABACUS currently has sponsors, but for my first point of contact would be to contact the sponsors currently and ask if they would be willing to sponsor us. And second of all, I'll be willing to like reach out to other different universities and ask how they did it, because they probably have a bit more experience compared to me. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Next question. As president, you will organize some of the main ABACUS events, such as the annual boat party. Suppose the security team on the boat is complaining that the behavior of the society's members is unacceptable because too many people are getting too drunk. How would you appease the boat company staff and your members, and how would you prevent further complaints being made?
Okay. So actually, the first situation actually happened this day, I believe.
Yeah.
Like quite a lot of people got drunk, and some actually vomited in the toilet. So yeah, it's quite hard. For example, it's quite difficult to just encourage people to stop drinking, because if you do that, people just still drink because it's pretty pointless. But what I'd do is probably to limit the amount of drinks that one person can buy from the bar, or probably make it a cash bar, so there'll be there's less accessibility, hence less accessibility to alcohol. And how many please that boat company and members I mean, I have to negotiate with the boat company staff. I understand, like for example, if someone vomits on the boat, you have to pay like a deposit of like a few £100. I'm not really sure. I think that's the case there, but I'll probably like just negotiate and say, yes, this is a one-off thing. That's not going to happen. We're going to maybe blacklist them from further events, and yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
So, like you said, this actually did happen at the boat party. A lot of people were throwing up, and I did get a lot of complaints from the security team that people were just behaving too wildly. So I'll tell you what I did. We stopped bottle service, so people couldn't just buy like full big bottles of alcohol. We did actually have a cash bar. We also had free welcome drinks, but the rest of the drinks for the night was a cash bar. Yeah, so I had to be on like security's ass about like watching over people. I shoved all the people who were like sick on one table and I kept a close eye on them. But yeah, not fun. Yeah.
And we lost our deposits.
Yeah, we lost our damage deposit, but that was always gonna happen. But yeah, I have another question. It's not related to these scenarios, but so me and the other presidents, before we started planning any events at the start of the year, we came together and we came about to make some agreements, sort of like guidelines that we would all follow. And one of those guidelines was before we sign the contracts with clubs, we always have a meeting about it, and we make sure that all the other presidents are on board with the terms of the contract. What would you do if one of the other presidents signed the contract without providing the details of the contract?
Well, without providing details, as in they didn't read it, or?
As in they didn't send you the contract with the terms and conditions of the clubbing event.
So can you elaborate a bit more? So all presidents actually sign a contract, or just one?
No, just one.
Okay.
But because each uni takes turns planning these big events. So let's say KCL is in charge of planning Chinese New Year clubbing, and they went ahead and signed the contract without providing to the other presidents what the minimum spend is, details like that. So what would you do in that situation?
I mean, you have to know what's on the contract. Like, first of all, before you sign a contract, you have to read it. And if they don't actually do it, I mean, there's nothing much we can do, because it's already signed and it's a binding agreement. And so I'll probably ask them to send the contract after they've signed it and see like what's actually on it, like what's the minimum spend, and all the other details on it. And I'll probably contact other presidents as well of different London ABACUS events, and just to say yes. For example, the KCL president did that, and asked he or her not to do it again, because it's not much point of just not reading it, because it's such a large event and it's essential to actually read the contract.
Yeah, the main thing about that contract, something that's really important, is the minimum spend. So hypothetically, if another president agreed to a minimum spend that the other presidents don't agree with, then that would be like a really big problem. Yeah. Like you said, there's not too much that you can do about it because the contract has been signed. But in that case, you would have to have a very serious conversation with the other presidents to talk about, because they've breached the guidelines that we've all agreed on. Yeah. Any other questions? Emma?
So, in your own words, can you actually tell us, what is the role of president?
What is the role of president? Wow, sorry.
Try not to insult me.
Okay, role of president. There's going to be hard one. I didn't actually receive any guidelines towards what the role of president was.
You can check on SU, by the way.
Yeah,
There is a guideline on SU.
Okay, in my own words.
Yep.
In my own words.
There is.
In my own words. Role of president, not just advocates in any society, is basically liaise with your different community members and to see how society is going to be run, plan future events. And given that ABACUS is such a large London university, role of president was also to liaise with different other London ABACUS presidents as well, and also other London ABACUS communities. Furthermore, I think that one of the roles is, as I said in my speech, is to be approachable, because as a president, you're basically the first point of contact if something goes south. So what you need to do is just to make sure everything gets run smoothly. Basically, shall we run smoothly? I think I said pretty well. Yeah.
Gia?
As president, it's like not just organizing external fun events, you also get to like organize committee events with other universities. So let's say you're like at Jade Karaoke. Can you please you're at Jade, okay? The karaoke place.
Which we go to a lot.
A lot, yeah.
Okay.
Please reenact how you would order 5 crates of whiskey and 2 crates of green tea in Cantonese or Mandarin.
Sorry, can you say that slightly slower?
Please reenact how you would order 5 bottles of whiskey and 2 crates of green tea in Cantonese or Mandarin.
Both and Mandarin.
That's not French.
Okay, you don't actually have to speak Cantonese or Mandarin to be president. God knows I don't speak either.
Right?
So let's say you organise an event, and after the event, members of the society came back to you and say your event was shit, and they were asking for a refund. So what would you do in that situation?
Not the Christmas party, dinner, sorry. But I would try my best. Oh shit, this is okay, I mean, obviously I would try my, oh dear, that happens to every single person in this room already. I would try my best to organise, obviously I would try my best to organise good events. And obviously, I mean, it's a role I'm doing, so I'm living and learning. I mean, if event's shit, at least I get good feedback on how do I get better. Yeah.
Okay, so I also have one more question. Okay, regarding to Chinese New Year like minimum spend, let's say KCL signed the contract without letting the other president know the minimum spend, and then they're all very clueless. So let's say one of the uni, they don't want to spend on table this time, but then if they don't spend, they're not going to reach minimum spend. Do you think the uni has the responsibility to buy the table in order to reach minimum spend, or do you think all the presidents should split it? Like all the unis should split the difference between the minimum cost and what was missing?
In other words, do you think every committee has an obligation to chip in for the minimum spend?
Well, the problem that stems from here is the KCL president actually didn't send us the contracts, and he signed it without sending it to us. So that's mainly his fault. So I would probably.
It could be a she.
Their fault. So it's their fault. So I'll probably ask them like what they think they should do, because it's kind of their responsibility. Obviously, if we don't.
Sorry, Adriel, continue.
Okay, it's obviously their fault, so I'll probably ask them, yeah, what do you think you should do about it? And I mean, there are like two options that you said now. First, KCL could reimburse that table. Second of all, other universities could split it. And third, the university could itself could buy the table. So I'll probably ask that president what he thinks we should do. What they think we should do.
What if they're like
That's my
what if they're like, oh, if you don't buy a table, we're gonna kick you out of this event. You're not gonna be able to join this event. What would you do?
The president said that.
Yeah, one of the presidents say that. Like, if they're pushing it that hard, they're like, if you don't buy a table, we're not gonna.
Okay. We'll probably have a meeting with all 6 or 7 different university presidents and figure out like we need to come to a conclusion, because the main point here is not about like whose fault it is. It's about like everyone in the community, like not community, in the community having fun. And so I'll probably I'll set up some meetings and see how it goes. If we still can't come to a conclusion, it's probably the university, like the university who signed it, like for example KCL's fault. So I'll probably ask them to like reimburse it.
By the way, just saying, like someone said, like Andrea said, the president of another university threatened you that they'll kick you out from another event. Just put it out there, it's not going to happen. We're the biggest, and it's just not going to happen. It's just...
Okay, but do you personally think it's ethical to punish another university? And penalize them should they not follow the guidelines that you agreed on? Do you think it's ethical?
I mean, it's not even a matter of ethics. It's just you're wrong, because like if you didn't follow the guidelines, for example, if you had a job and you did something wrong and you didn't follow the guidelines, you would get punished. Like that's just how it works. Like it's not even a matter about ethics. So I'll probably like tell the KCL president, yeah, that's wrong. First of all, don't do it again, because once is a mistake, twice is a decision. So yeah, don't do it ever again, and think of a way to get it done.
Okay. Okay, we've had a lot of questions. I feel bad for you.
It's alright. It's alright. I can take it.
Oh, wait.
Yo, okay, one more.
Okay. Okay, if you were the president, how would you improve like the whole ABACUS events this year? Like, how would you improve in general?
On everything we've done so far.
Or like anything you think, or anything you think that.
Or like improve on stuff.
Yeah, you know, like I know you've been participating
Wait, guys,
in
he's running for president, remember? So how would you improve the president's role?
President's role, like improve president's role. Okay, there are 2 questions there. I'm going to answer the first one. I mean, Actually, I've been to most events this year, not all, but I think it's been really, really well this year, and it's really hard to top it, in fact. Definitely not flattery. But I mean, there's some, at least I mentioned in my manifesto that some more social events would be better. Like, for example, like I've seen like KCL doing laser tag or like hot pot, and I think we could actually introduce that to UCL as well. And what was the second part of the question?
So you're running for president.
Mm-hmm.
What improvements could the president make to their role?
Can you, as I, okay.
Save yourself.
Oh, how do I spin? How do I spin this? Okay.
Sorry, that is so mean.
No, sorry. President's role. President's role. I mean, president is basically the first point of contact from the UCL student union if something goes shit. So first of all, you need to be very, very good at your job. You have to maintain everything that happens is alright. Like for example, like the financials is going to go alright, the committee is going to go alright, the events are going to go alright, and if it really, really does go south, I mean, it's a learning opportunity. So yeah, we live and we learn.
Solid.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello?
Do you want to answer another one?
I mean, I don't want, I'm here anyways. Yeah.
A girl you find attractive tries to a girl you find attractive tries to seduce you for tickets. How do you act?
First of all, how do you know? Okay.
Or guy.
Yes, we live in the 21st century, right?
Let's say she's like really hot.
Okay.
Now it's just going to be.
And this on camera as well. Lovely. I mean, first of all, I'd say it's actually really flashing that you think someone's going to find you attractive. That's the first thing. Second of all, I mean, as other candidates mentioned, I need to try to maintain a fair system with the ticket distribution. I know this year, like as someone mentioned before, you need five tickets per committee member, right?
That's the policy that we implemented this year.
So yeah, I mean, I'll probably stick to that, and well, yeah, I don't think I can answer anything better.
That's good.
Okay.